So I'm going to be going with the second prompt, and I'm going to say that my ethical position is that Boeing's original certification of the 737 MAX was unethical under rule utilitarianism because decisions that reduced cost and protected sales were allowed to outweigh rules that meant to protect passengers. And although plane's recertification was more ethically justified because important safety changes were required, Boeing's changing corporate culture shows why continued independent oversight is necessary. The original certification process had several ethical problems, being Boeing wanted the MAX treated as another version of the existing 737 instead of an entirely new aircraft. And now, this allowed airlines to avoid expense simulator training and made the plane easier to sell. However, the new engines changed how the aircraft handled, leading Boeing to create the MCAS software to push the nose downward in certification situations. Now, according to the IEEE Spectrum article, MCAS relied on information from only one angle of attack sensor at the time and did not compare that reading with the plane's second sensor. The article also argues that information about MCAS was kept out of pilot training and documentation, partly because Boeing wanted the MAX to appear similar to the older 737 models. Now, from a rule utilitarianism perspective, companies building safety-critical systems should follow a rule that passenger safety and full disclosure come before saving money. A rule allowing manufacturers to hide major system changes, avoid training, or approve a design with a single point of failure would create much more harm than benefit. And it may reduce costs in the short term, but it places pilots and passengers at unacceptable risk. So the recertification was more ethical because the FAA required changes before the plane could return to service. These included updating MCAS to compare both angle of attack sensors, limiting how MCAS could activate, requiring maintenance work, and reviewing pilot training programs. Now, the FAA also retained responsibility for individual reviewing nearly manufactured MAX aircraft at that time. However, recertification should not mean that Boeing is trusted without question. The later manufacturing problems suggest that correcting one software system did not automatically correct the company's larger organizational problems. Now, The Atlantic describes Boeing as changing from an engineering-centered company into one increasingly focused on profits after its merger with McDonnell Douglas. It argued that Boeing lost a culture of perfectionism, careful quality control, and respect for engineers' warnings. This is ethically concerning because employees may feel pressure to meet certain deadlines, reduce costs, or remain silent about problems. And now, under rule utilitarianism, Boeing should create and enforce rules that protect whistleblowers, give engineers authority over safety decisions, require redundancy in critical systems, and prevent production goals from overruling quality concerns. Now, overall, Boeing's original certification failed ethically because financial and competitive goals were placed above rules that protect human life. The recertification addressed important technical issues, but Boeing can only regain trust by rebuilding a culture where safety concerns are rewarded rather than ignored.